literally just popped my head up. I popped my head up because I was ready to start.
As am I.
You gonna press the button?
I think I did. I'm not entirely sure.
Rook ordning. What does that say? Oh, yeah, Jones, we're live. We're live.
Is this thing on?
Pay attention.
What? No, I'm live. Shh. Doing it live, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Mom,
Biddies.
The meatloaf. Lisa?
the meatloaf.
Suplex Biddies in this motherfucker. We're back. Live, brought to you by our good friends over at Couch Guy Sports. Use the internet one time. Go check them out. Fellas, what's going on? Hunneman, Diego. What the is up?
WrestleMania week, baby.
It's WrestleMania. It's time to slap some meat.
And slap some.
Big meaty
We're
man
excited, boys.
slapping meat.
Yeah, excited. Also, this podcast, just so you know, don't forget our sponsors. Oh, I thought I had it here. Oh, speaking of Hunneman, I still have your shirt I have to give you from 6 years ago.
Thanks, buddy.
Brought to you by our friends over at Couch Guy Sports. Also, we're sponsored by our friends over at Exogun. Massage at a moment's notice. Do yourself the favor. Exogun.com. Use the promo code CGS10 for 10% off your order. Need some energy? Go to shockenergy.com. Another one of our sponsors. Drink made by gamers for gamers. Caffeine doesn't make you jittery. That looks like hand sanitizer. I might need that after this. But so basically, on top of it, shockenergy.com. Do yourself a favor. CGSN for 10% off your order there. Also, if you like to talk about sports and you like to talk about sports while it's happening in a chat room, do yourself a favor. Apple Store, Android Store, whatever the hell the Android store is called. Download the Ravon Sports app. It's fantastic. Final Four coming up this weekend. Trust me, if you like talking about sports and you want to talk about how much you hate somebody, perfect place to do it. You want to talk about how good you think someone is and get a reaction out of someone, good place to do it. Ravon Sports, Ravon Sports, Ravon Sports. Okay, it's WrestleMania week. Let's dive in.
There's so much shit to watch this week, man. It's too much.
2 nights of WrestleMania.
And all
Jesus.
the other shit.
I thought I was going to throw up and burp at the same time. That was gross.
A third.
Okay, so let's start off night one, Saturday, April 2nd. Opener of that has been announced. It's going to be Becky versus Bianca for the Raw Women's Championship. What are we thinking, fellas? Becky retaining or Bianca becoming a 2-time champ?
Bianca. Calling it. Has to happen. Poetic justice.
I was about to say, no one all talk at once. It's fine.
I was thinking intently at what I wanted to say. Bianca Belair, because it makes sense and it's the right thing to do. Boom.
Diego?
Yeah, I'm going with Bianca as well. I think it's time for the belt to be transferred over. Becky Lynch's reign and storyline is a little bit overdone at this point. It's kind of this is the perfect occasion to kind of do things over or start something new.
Well, I have a take, but I'm going to hold it off for a little bit here. Bianca's going to win, not because it's the right choice, but because WWE is going to be setting up a much larger storyline.
Oh, for sure. I agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
I'll take Bianca winning the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Next, we get the Mysterios versus The Miz and Logan Paul tag team match. What are we thinking?
I'm going with the Mysterios getting their WrestleMania moment, with Dominic being as heavily underperforming. It's kind of time for him to have his WrestleMania moment, especially as he kind of set up the future for the brand. So I'm thinking the Mysterios at this point.
I'm going to say the Mysterios as well, just because I think they got a marquee matchup based on Ray getting that cover athlete for 2K. So that obviously helps. And there could be something like, I don't know if it's kind of too bold, but I kind of have a feeling that Ray might even like retire and give his mask to his son.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree with that.
That's kind of what I was thinking would happen. I don't think it's a big enough moment, and Ray deserves a little more than that. But we'll see. Hopefully it's not like a Dominic heel turn type thing, and they actually just have him part his father and son on, pals, but we'll see.
Oh, we're getting a Dominic heel turn, baby.
They've been
let's
talking
go.
about that since like August.
We're getting a Dominic heel turn. It's at WrestleMania. This is exactly what's gonna happen. It's just so WWE like. It's gonna happen.
I hope not.
Dominic is gonna cost Ray and him the match. Walk out of the ring. You know who's gonna pin Rey Mysterio? It's gonna be Logan Paul. Logan Paul's pinning Rey Mysterio. It's gonna be the headline. It's Logan Paul pins WWE Future Hall of Fame. That's what you're gonna get. Logan Paul and the Miz.
So that's your take, Miz and Paul?
Yep, with the Dominic Mysterio heel turn added to it. All right. Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin with Madcap Mouse.
You know who wins? Us, because this feud's over. Hey.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Drew McIntyre, because why the fuck would you even not do that?
Drew McIntyre is going to be the first person to ever kick out of the end of days and win.
Yep. Facts. Cap. Or no cap. Which one is it? Cap?
Madcap.
Madcap. That's what.
Diego, what you got?
Yeah, I agree with Hunneman. I'm also going with McIntyre. I think as WWE creative try to work out their way to bring McIntyre back into the main event picture, this is one of the stepping stones to do so.
Did I not also say that McIntyre was going to win? You going Hunneman? What the fuck?
Well, my mistake, sir.
I said it louder
I wasn't listening
and more
to you.
confidently. So, bam.
Sorry, I was getting a DM from Jurgens because they were worried about the recall that they have that you.
I told you,
called them out
pull the
on.
sponsorship.
I know, so I
Recall.
had to deal with that.
Half the brand. Next one, tag team match for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. We get the Usos versus Shinsuke and Ricky Boogs. I think you should be called Ricky Boogs from now on. Rick Boogs. It's cool, but Ricky Boogs sounds even cooler.
Yeah, I didn't realize until very recently that it was Rick Boogs, not Ricky Boogs. Ricky Boogs just flows so much better.
Yeah, I think Ricky Boogs sounds better.
I think you're gonna get the Uso, and I'm gonna go Nakamura and Boogs because I want there to be a seed planted that people think Roman might actually finally lose, and then the family loses all their belts. So I'm gonna go with Nakamura and Boogs.
I agree, but I think differently. I just think it's going to be that WrestleMania moment. The last time I remember Shinsuke with his WrestleMania moment was him turning heels on AJ Styles. So this would be ideal.
Punching him in the nuts.
That was kick.
Was it kick or? I thought it was punch. I thought he was like on his knees saying thank you, and then he went. Bah!
Maybe.
Sounds like it.
I thought he kicked him. Same fucking thing.
He still kicked him in the dick. We don't like that here.
Yeah, I'll take Nakamura and futurely known as Ricky Boogs because I'm calling him Vince myself.
I'm going with Bugs and Nakamura as well. I agree with you guys. I think
Bugs, Bugs,
Bugs,
picking the Bugs,
Ricky
picking
Bugs,
the Bugs,
baby.
yes,
Ricky Bugs, baby.
Ricky Boogies. Yeah, I think the storyline is over for, Samoa themselves. So,
All right, next one, King Woods and Kofi Kingston versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Butch.
Just got announced today.
After Big E's injury, it should be Woods and Kofi.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad they're getting on the card, but it feels like that's going to be the pre-show match, if they're going to have one, because I know they're doing the Battle Royal this Friday, so I think that'll kick off the night. Get a nice New Day victory, and then hopefully, they can move on from that as well.
They doing the Andre the Giant Battle Royal Friday, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is almost going to be there because I'll take all the money I have on him.
No, I think the only big dude they had advertised was Commander Aziz.
What about Veer? Is he still coming?
He's coming on Monday. Finally, the arrival.
Yeah, but we've been waiting since October.
I know. It's freaking crazy. I hope he gets a huge ovation just because it's the Raw After Mania crowd. Because if he doesn't get an ovation, they're gonna he's gonna have a shorter push than Mordecai.
He's gonna have a shorter push than Santino Morello, the Milan Miracle.
He was all right for a little while.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zach Gowen or Nathan Jones. Which one do you want to go for?
Nathan Jones. That's a much better one. Yeah.
Right. So, Diego, Woods and Kofi or Sheamus and Ridge?
No, I agree. Woods and Kofi for sure.
Does Big E show up
No.
and give him a big old hug? No.
No,
Nah.
we see they show Big E in like a hospital bed or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. Just something. But
Yeah.
he's still in a neck brace too.
Next one, this got announced today. Seth friggin' Rollins versus, to be announced, McMahon will announce Seth's opponent the night of the event. So it's Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, so it's Cody Rhodes. Are they really gonna make us wait?
Cody Rhodes. See, anybody else read the tweet today that said, what if Monday Night Raw ended tonight with Seth going into Vince's office?
Yeah.
And literally the chair's turned around.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you turn around the chair and there's Cody Rhodes and then the screen just goes black.
That would have been awesome. That would have been a
WWE
great.
hasn't done anything like that since 2006 when everybody thought Vince killed himself.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, that kind of stinks that they're waiting. I just wish that we could have had a nice little. I mean, it'll be a cool return, but it's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
it's setting up for the Mania pop. That's all it is.
Yeah.
What if it's not Cody Rhodes? What are some other? I mean, we know it's going to be Cody Rhodes, but what happens if WWE fucks us? It's like it's not Cody Rhodes. You show up the night.
If it's
night
just
after
like
Mania.
Bobby Lashley or something. Which Bobby Lashley
I actually wouldn't hate
Don't
that.
get me wrong. I love Bobby Lashley. Don't get me wrong.
I wouldn't hate that storyline.
What
If
do
he's
you?
I
going
actually
against-
wouldn't hate it.
What if they bring up Braun Breaker for the night?
That would be cool as well.
His dad's getting in the Hall of Fame over the weekend. Tell me he's not going to be on the
Yeah, they
Mania
announced
card?
that. They announced that really late too, huh?
Tell me he's not. They're not going to try and put him on the card somehow.
I see him as a Raw after Mania guy, kind of like Ciampa, but it depends on how Stand and Deliver goes because we have that showing up. What is that? Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I just think realistically speaking, they have to keep him on NXT because right now the direction they're going in. Oh, we want to focus on the younger generation of this of the talent that we have. Their champions are Mandy Rose and Dolph Ziggler. Doesn't go for younger.
Not
Well,
quite. Kind
but
of
if
missed
it's
something there on there.
But if it's Cody Rhodes, we all agree it's going to be Cody Rhodes that's going to win.
That's my guess. Yeah.
Diego, do you think Seth wins? Do you think Cody?
I think Seth wins, but it starts the storyline for those two.
See, I just think Cody wins, and then he's already in the main event the following Monday on Raw, fighting for the new title.
Yep.
That's another thing. The Raw after Mania is going to be a must watch because we have to figure out what they're doing with the new. They're putting a new title on.
Yeah, it's tough to imagine them doing Lesnar or Roman showing up to both shows.
Yeah, no
So-
way. All right, main event night one, SmackDown Women's Title, Charlotte, Rhonda. It's Rhonda.
Dude, this feud's been really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's super underwhelming. I'm sure the match itself is probably going to be all right, but Rhonda is like, she's not a seasoned enough vet to come in like this and not have this build and like lack of build up. Like
Right.
you can see that she was nervous on the mic. You can see that she's kind of struggling to get it going. Once she finds her footing and her confidence, it'll be fine. But it just feels like this should not be an event because
No.
I don't. Charlotte can get a good match on anybody. Ronda's always been solid, but I just have very low expectations for this one.
Can I just say one more thing about the previous matchup too that we were thinking?
Yeah.
You know how Jones mentioned potentially having it be
Braun Breaker.
Bond Breaker potentially being the new person.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's been kind of rumors floating around too that Alberto Del Rio is looking to make a one last final hope.
Nope.
I wouldn't be
I hope
surprised
not.
if that's that.
Guy's a trash bag.
We don't talk about it. We don't
He
talk
is a
about
trash
him.
bag in a
He's
half.
like
such a
Bruno
piece
and
of-
Encanto. We don't talk about Alberto Del Rio.
The guy sucks and he's a piece of shit. But it wouldn't be surprising of WWE.
Oh, it would be. Because
I hope they're not that dumb, and that scares me because I wouldn't put it past them.
That's what I'm
if
saying.
you were
And
so-
the only other person I could think of too is Braun Strowman because he's still realistically a free agent. But I highly
No,
doubt
he's
that
got
he
his-
wants to come back.
he's got his Control Your Narrative show, which he's already pissed at WWE because apparently there's a rumor that they told CYN not to let them do their show in Texas that they have for WrestleMania week. So that's all. There's no way he comes back. But
Must be nice to be a juggernaut.
just to go on this, I mean, just go back on Charlotte Ronda. It's just
Yeah.
a name value match. I think realistically speaking, and think of it like this: if the co-main event is Seth versus Cody Rhodes, the crowd's gonna be depleted at that point.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, they need a buffer for that last segment that I think you're about to go into. So their placement for this match card is going to be very important because you need to have the fans somewhat energetic for what is allegedly supposed to close the show,
right.
which would be da, da, da. You want to say it, Jones? Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Owens versus Austin. Yes, correct. Sorry, Jesus. Wow,
Wait,
I just had a fucking tremendous brain fart.
Did the match between AJ Styles and Edge get canceled? I thought it was supposed to be
night
on
two.
day one.
Night 2.
I think it got moved, right? Because they put
Yeah.
Seth Rollins on night 1.
They put Seth Rollins on night 1, so they moved it to night 2. Because night 2 really lacking besides Brock Roman, to be
Yeah.
honest.
So we all
The tag
saying
match,
Rousey wins against
It's
Charlotte.
going to be Rousey, and then they're going to set up the program with her and Becky going into SummerSlam. So you're going to see that for the next 4+ months.
That's been.
And
that's
then
been
Charlotte's
my
going to go
take
back
on
to Raw. Becky's going to go to SmackDown.
See,
You
that
know.
would be cool if they traded him.
They're going to.
That's okay with me.
They'd be idiotic to keep Charlotte and Becky on the same brand.
Agreed.
But also, too, another name that could be coming back sooner rather than later is Bayley. We're still waiting on her.
I think
So,
she comes back.
hope
I think
she's
she comes back in
saved.
WrestleMania.
I hope she's safe for a big moment. Like
Yeah.
people were saying they should bring her back in the Battle Royal if they did it for the women's this year.
No.
No thanks. She deserves way more than that.
Yeah, correct. All right, let's move on to night 2. Kind of lackluster so far. 6 matches on the card. Start off with this one. Anything goes. Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn.
That's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna go with Sami Zayn.
It's WWE. They usually give these guys their moments. I'm going Johnny Knoxville.
I agree. Yeah.
Cool. I'll be different on that one.
Pat McAfee and Austin Theory.
McAfee.
Yeah. Agreed.
Realistically speaking, McAfee might be a better wrestler than Austin Theory.
Yeah.
And I was reading
Yeah.
an article today. They were talking about how they kind of treat Austin Theory like he's like a toddler half the time.
Yep.
Because like he'll bully Pat McAfee and then run to Vince's office for protection. It's like a little brother trying to like get a rise out of his older brother. And it's like at some point, the dude, he's 24, he's a young dude, but he can go. So at some point you got to kind of shake this facade of him just being a giant puss bag. So we'll see. I just think McAfee's going to get the better of him because that's a better headline, and he can talk about it on his podcast and his
Correct.
YouTube show. And,
Yeah, and let him fucking create some traction. That's what I need.
and because he's,
I mean,
one of
not
the,
that it
he's
really
already
needs
one
it
of the
because
best
he's
promos
making-
in the one of the best promos in the league. If you guys saw his speech on SmackDown, so
I mean, also too, he doesn't really need it. He's already making all that money from FanDuel, so that's always a plus for him. Just adds on to it. All right, the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the Women's Tag Team Championships: Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Sasha and Naomi, Rhea and Liv, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler. Talk about
Sasha
gross.
and Naomi for the win. The other teams just kind of don't seem like Ripley and Liv's a cool one, but need
I'm
someone
picking-
to feud with Bianca.
I'm picking Ripley and Liv.
Okay.
Because realistically speaking, I think the first title feud for Bianca is going to be Bianca and Naomi.
I mean, different shows, isn't it? Because I think Liv and
Yeah, no, you're right. Fuck, I fucked up. My bad. Fucking idiot Jones.
I hope
Maybe she
Naomi
comes to
does
Raw.
get a title show, like a title picture, like her. I mean, her versus Rousey wouldn't be that good, but I'm sticking with what I said. But go carry on.
I'll go Ripley and Liv.
Yeah, me too.
Who've been a great team.
Yeah.
I go
Right.
with Liv Morgan because she deserves her WrestleMania moment. She's worked the whole entire year towards it. I think she deserves it this time around.
Definitely deserves something after not
Yeah.
winning the women's championship, which she probably should have.
And we all know she got screwed out of that too. So
Yeah.
All right, triple threat tag team match for the Raw Tag Champions: RK Bro versus Street Profits versus Alpha Academy.
I oddly think I'm going to say Street Profits.
Fuck you, because that's what I was going to say. So go take it back.
I don't think Orton and Riddle should lose the titles this quickly, but I feel like everyone's been waiting for them to split for the longest time.
I think they're going to split. Well, I think Riddle's a singles competitor now.
Oh, yeah.
His stature is going to go through the roof.
He's got way more star power just from this team itself.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna go Street Profits because I don't think they give it to good old Otis, boy.
Nah, I don't think so.
Can I be honest with you? I think this is gonna be one of those stupid matches where Alpha Academy is actually the one to win this.
Okay. Wow, so no one's picking the champs to retain.
He's the champs are retaining, baby.
I'm gonna keep my answer, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays.
Which wouldn't be a bad idea. Wouldn't be bad.
Hopefully they give them some sort of semblance of the similar time they did on Raw a couple weeks ago, because that match was a banger, as we know. And part of me wonders how, after Orton did the RKO from the moonsault from Gable, I don't know how you can top that at WrestleMania. So I don't know. I feel like they should have saved that, but it was cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Dream match: Edge versus AJ.
Oh, I'm going AJ Styles in this one.
I'm going AJ, and they're going to send him back to the top of the card. Finally, thank goodness.
That's exactly my prediction.
Mm-hmm. Face AJ right to the championship, please and thank you.
Well, here I am. I was going to pick Edge, but then I realized what a fucking idiot I would be. So I'm going AJ Styles with the boys.
I don't think Edge is going to go away after this either. I think his new heel persona and everything like that, he could stick around. I think you'll see him involved in that potential new champion thing on Raw the next night. If your main four is going to be Rollins, Cody, Edge, and AJ, that's a pretty good friggin' match.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that any day. So
I tell you what, I think there's a storyline to be happening very soon where in the previous match that we just talked about, RK Bro potentially disintegrating. I think we see a storyline where Randy Orton and Edge become a tag team.
Oh, they actually get back together again.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
They already duked it out. They already beat the shit out of each other. Might as well
they can be
hit one last run.
Yeah,
might as well hit one last run. Make up and hit one last run.
God, them versus the Street Profits would be so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would.
Not that Riddle's a slouch by any means, but the new pairing is very enticing.
Main event, the match that everybody wants to see. It's the winner takes all match to unify the WWE and the WWE Universal Championship. It's Brock Lesnar versus the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. The match everybody wants to see, according to WWE.
The most stupendous main event of all time, or the biggest match in WrestleMania history.
Guess what? They completely forget about the 7,000 times that The Rock faced Stone Cold at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like those were a little bigger, but yeah.
You know, that maybe, I don't know, Rock Hogan. I don't know, Undertaker Michaels. Fuck, man. There's so many better
Plenty
WrestleMania
options.
matches.
I just hope they actually get to have a fun 20-minute match.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the equals of one another. I don't want to see people just getting tossed around for 10 minutes and then a spam finisher type thing. Hopefully they can actually slug it out, have a decent match, and we see some actual, a match out of them too, which would be great. Because it would humanize both of them coming out of it a little bit, because you know how whoever comes out on top is going to be looked at as such a god tier level of a champion that it's going to be tough for anyone to beat them for any of those belts. So I hope they kind of humanize them a little bit and don't do the fast sprint type shit that they keep doing with these big matches. But I'm sorry, Roman is my pick.
It's going to be Roman. We all
Has
know.
to be.
We all know it's going to be Roman. Right, Diego?
I disagree.
What?
Really?
I think it's Lesnar, and the only reason why I think that is because of the amount of work the guy has done to get this opportunity. If you go back, he won the Rumble. He then was to confront Roman Reigns, but then Reigns tested positive for COVID. Lesnar would then go out, get the WWE Championship at day one. Obviously, he lost that immediately when Reigns and Bobby Lashley, when him and Lashley were fighting, and then obviously Roman Reigns came in and interrupted. So I think at this point it's more of like storyline that supposedly has been built, but like we all know that Lesnar's gonna win this one. That's my prediction.
It's just so for me, but if you look back at Elimination Chamber, the way they had Brock steamroll everybody in the chamber to win the title back just makes me think he has to lose it, because at that point, if he's still the Raw champion, who's going to beat him?
Mm-hmm.
He pinned AJ, he pinned Seth, Austin Theory was in it too, but
Austin Theory was the last guy. Don't forget.
Yeah, he took that big old bump off the pod, which was pretty cool. I think it's going to be Roman, and I still think we're going to get a unification of those titles, and then they'll announce another new belt, hopefully, for Raw to keep it separated. Yeah. So I can't imagine either of them doing double duty.
Again. So I gotta ask, WrestleMania Backlash, Roman Reigns still your champion. Who's he face?
Is he gonna be? How would I word this? If he's staying exclusive to SmackDown, is that what you mean?
Yep.
McIntyre. Because I think they're gonna throw that feud down our throat for like 3 or 4 months just because he has no other contenders that have been built up. So I think Drew would be a good one, and if they could actually build him up to beat him, even if Reigns won it back at like SummerSlam or something like that, that would be a good way to solidify him as a big deal. I'm saying McIntyre back WrestleMania Backlash.
I'm trying to think actually right now.
I got one. But we'll wait to see.
No, go ahead. You can go ahead. I'm still thinking.
Is it Shane Carwin?
It's not actually.
Oh.
It's someone who kind of deserves it because they haven't really done it in quite some time. And I think realistically speaking, this could set up a nice little feud that you could do with Roman and him. And that, my friend, would be the guy who never got a rematch for the belt when he lost to Brock Lesnar on the premiere Friday Night SmackDown. That's Kofi Kingston.
Oh, okay.
Kofi Kingston versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania Backlash. That's my prediction right now.
If they build up Kofi again to be a main event guy and just feed him to someone like they did with Lashley, I might tune out for good.
So
that was the infuriating thing of last year.
Do like a fatal 4-way number one contender match. Winner gets Roman at WrestleMania Backlash. You do. Mm-hmm. Have Drew in there, but you don't have him lose. You have Drew, Kofi, Sheamus, and then
Sami Zayn or something.
Something like that.
It's interesting how it seems like the main events guys for Raw seems like a lot more stacked than SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, another one that we could possibly do is we've seen it happen before already with Roman. What happens if they give Jimmy a little push?
That's one way to keep Roman with the belt for a little bit longer, have the family turn on him.
Jimmy instead of Jay this time?
Yeah, Jimmy was resistant originally anyway, too, so could be.
Especially if they lose the title?
Yeah, very reasonable.
Could say F this.
Yeah. I mean, all right, so what do we think is going to be the best match? Because I'm hoping it's AJ versus Edge.
It's going to be AJ Edge.
I just hope they get the time, man.
They're going to, because that's not going to co-main event. They're going to put it in like the middle of the show, and that's going to get like 25, 30 minutes.
I hope so.
Just like how awesome. Edge and Orton did last year.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you. I think actually the next storyline for Roman Reigns could be either one of these two. Big E is set to come back after the injury that he had.
Not for a while though.
Not for a while, right? But with Big E kind of getting a minor push like he did lastly when he won the championship, I think it's time to redo it and time to give it actually like a decent push and a valuable push. And with somebody like Roman Reigns, you can get that done. But another person that I could think as well that might potentially be up and due for another push is somebody like Sheamus as well. Sheamus's physicality versus Roman Reigns' physicality would be something that would be absolutely worth watching. So,
Yeah, I feel like Sheamus is like that perfect guy. Like, remember how they used to throw Samoa Joe into a feud with the
Mhm.
champion for like a month? He'd come in, talk a bunch of smack, put on a great show, be a badass, and then end up losing. But he looked like a viable contender, and they built him up ever so slightly. Sheamus definitely could be that. If he's not going to go after Ricochet, I think that's a good call.
Exactly. So those are my two. Those are my only two that I can think of.
God, I wish Biggie could be back like right now. I don't see him coming back to the Rumble next year, but if it's
Yeah.
possible and he can come back safely, I would love to see him duke it out with Roman and actually get that big moment because that he definitely deserves it.
No, for sure.
Whenever that may be.
I think so. If they keep the titles where it's at and Roman's doing double duty, I think realistically speaking, it's Roman versus Seth at WrestleMania Backlash.
You think they'll have Seth kind of dilly dally his way over to SmackDown somehow?
No, so like if it's like they're doing like both titles,
Yeah,
they're still the titles are still unified, but you do Roman versus Seth.
yeah.
That's the
Okay.
case.
I mean, that's a good reason. That's a good way to do it. I mean, that's actually another way that you could keep Roman's reign, no pun intended, fresh. Because the news that was coming out today was that they're penciling in Rock versus Roman for WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood. So now you either have to somehow make Roman run with the title for another year or have something in the middle to split it up. But
Yeah.
if he's able to go over to Raw, that's plenty of challengers that he hasn't fought. So there you go.
I just think SmackDown, he's just a big name. He has to be on Friday nights. But
Yeah.
realistically speaking, too, they could do one of two things. He could pull double duty and lose the WWE title at WrestleMania Backlash off the bat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like they could do him versus Lashley, have him lose to Lashley, and then Roman versus whoever for the Universal and have him retain it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing they could do as well.
It's just I can't imagine them booking him in a loss still, which is just confusing. It's almost like it's almost like when Christian Cage beat Kenny Omega for the TNA title back before their match at All Out. It just felt so weird and it didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's like it didn't make sense. So I think Roman's kind of at that level himself now.
I don't know. It's just one of those things that we're not going to know until, but I think they have a couple different avenues. That is something that they haven't done with Roman yet, and something that they potentially might not run into the ground because it could be a short thing for someone else to come back. You know what I mean? So,
I really
also
hope they
one
split up the
final
belts,
thing.
man.
One final thing we want to talk about.
King of Kings. King of Kings. Jones.
What is going on?
One final thing we wanted to each talk about was the official retirement in ring of the King of Kings, Triple H.
King of Kings.
Sounded like he was saying Kenny King at first, and I had to rephrase, and I was like, "That's not what he said, Jones. Figure it out."
King of Kings.
But yeah, no, we knew it was coming, and after the interview he did on First Take, you look at everything into perspective, and you go, "Geez, yeah, no, this is definitely the time, Hunter. You're doing the right thing here."
Just the fact that he went from having it was some sort of pneumonia that led to blood being thrown up from his mouth that led his heart to being at like 35% like ability or whatever. I forget the terminology, but like the man was literally on death's doorstep, and luckily they figured it out, got him in there, got everything squared away, and it sucks we'll never see it again, never see him wrestle again, but literally 30 years. I think I saw a picture earlier say that like he debuted 25 years. It was something he debuted like literally 25, 26 years, 27 years. It's a good career. You hope he comes back and can contribute where he can with the development and hopefully still take over one day if he can handle it with his heart. And I know sometimes with the heart, stress and anxieties is something they always say to stay away from. Of course. So just thanks to him for all the good memories and given all the outpouring support you saw for him, you could have assumed something worse happened because of how much everybody was talking about it and the way they were wording everything. So it's a great thing that he had this much of a legacy while he's still here, and he can see all the love and support that he was getting from NXT and superstars all over. So, glad he's okay and glad he's going to be able to be around for his family for hopefully, very, very, very long time.
Correct. Do you have any thoughts on Triple H?
Just saddening to see such a figure of his stature retire. Almost seems a bit too early, but like it's completely understandable. A phenomenal career left behind, a phenomenal trajectory that for the younger generation of wrestlers, that's something to look up to, especially for those that have yet to define their path within WWE. Just something that they can look back and be inspired by and kind of carve out their future with. But other than that, just happy for the man, happy for him to enjoy his retirement and be able to do the things that he wants to do while maintaining his health at paramount importance. And just kind of glad that he's still somewhat involved within WWE.
Agreed. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, it sucks to see because, we haven't seen him in the ring in a while. So you kind of figured this was we've seen his last hurrah, but it's just seeing the story about what happened to him. It just hits close to home for me. So it stinks. And hopefully, everything's good and stays good for him. But I just think, just thanks for everything, man. Guy did everything for this business.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets to take over the $1 million company.
I hope so.
It would be the only sense that it would make. Last
question here. So, 2023. I'm already looking ahead, boys. Who's going to be who's going to be the headliner of the Hall of Fame for 2023 WrestleMania? Who's going to be the headliner?
It's either going to be Triple H or Batista.
Triple H is already in the Hall of Fame.
Is he?
Yes.
Well, with DX, did he go in individually yet?
Believe he is.
I thought he was just with factions and stuff because he was still technically active. If I'm mistaken, my apologies, but I think it's going to be Batista because they've been waiting to bring in somebody from Hollywood.
Don't think it's Cena?
I don't think he's done yet. I think he's still going to get that 17th World Championship, which I hope happens sometime soon. Give us like a nice 3-4 month run for Cena back at the top, just one more time before he hangs it up.
Dude, what do you think?
Trying to think. I mean, it could definitely be Chris Rock after this slap that he took last night.
I'll put the slap.
I'm trying to think. That's a great question. Actually, I wasn't prepared for that. The only person that I was thinking of was Edge, but I remember that he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, I think in 2012, maybe 13.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, I mean, doesn't really leave much for your next Hall of Famer, WWE wise. I'm trying to think. Undertaker was already announced. Oh, you know who could be, actually. You know who it could be? Shane McMahon.
That's a good one.
That's who it could be, because he was already let go of the company. He's gonna be off any wrestling action whatsoever within the next year or so. With the company looking to basically just kind of transition into a new era, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Shane McMahon, the person that gets into the Hall of Fame.
See, now I think about it, you're right. He did get in the Hall of Fame with DX, not just as a. So I think next year it could be Triple H.
Yeah, because he's been inducted as a group, but he deserves his own.
Yeah, 2023. I think he headlines next year,
Mm.
and 2024 should be The Rock.
Oh yeah,
After
I
he
keep
has
forgetting
that
The
last
Rock
match,
is in
I
the.
agree.
Yeah, I keep forgetting
you
The Rock
can't-
is in the Hall of
You
Fame.
can't put The Rock in the Hall of Fame and then have him lose to Roman Reigns, because then you have to put Roman Reigns in the Hall of Fame right there.
Yeah.
You can't have the you can't have the Undertaker as your headliner and then have him lose to somebody, because then you have to put him right in the Hall of Fame that night.
Unless they pull a Ric Flair and have him be like the only active member of the roster getting inducted, and then lose the next night and have to retire. But
Yeah,
that was the whole thing.
What about Batista? Batista's not a Hall of Famer yet, is he?
That was my pick.
He was supposed to be, and then didn't take it.
He said no thanks because he didn't want to be with Undertaker. He wanted Taker to be his own.
Yeah.
But next year in Hollywood, he makes sense because he's now a pretty big Hollywood name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the wait and see, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that does it. Go enjoy WrestleMania week, folks, because it's going to be good. The content's going to be there. Hopefully, night 2 is a lot better than what we were expecting. The night 1's going to be the balls. Austin hitting that stunner and ending the show is going to be great. I can already picture it.
Mm-hmm.
Night 2, just something has to happen. Something has to happen weird on night 2. We're getting Cody Rhodes on night 1. We need something weird on night 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me Okada's coming.
Dude, cut it out. It's no him, no Rob Van Dam. Knock it off.
No, Rob Van Dam's long gone, dude. No way. He's
He
never
moved
stepped
on
foot in
from that
WWE
to-
ever again.
He moved
I
on
won't
from
say his
that
name
to-
ever again. He's
to-
a Hall of
to
Famer,
Oakland.
though. Don't forget, he's the WWE Hall of Famer. Signing off. See you
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
Suplex Biddies. Rob Van Dam's a WWE Hall of Famer. Don't forget it. Peace.